The stars twinkled in the vast blackness of space as the massive ship cut through the darkness. On board, Commander Zex Fold stood tall, his scaled skin reflecting the blue lights of the control room. His yellow eyes narrowed as he looked at the small blue planet on the screen. "We have our orders," he said to his crew of 20 elite Valkyrine warriors. "Find out what happened to the envoy ship." The Valkyrines were feared across the galaxy. On their homeworld, they had evolved from the top predators. Large, powerful hunters with razor-sharp claws and teeth that could tear through metal. Their military had never lost a battle. When the peaceful Galactic Coalition lost contact with their envoy ship sent to Earth, they turned to the Valkyrines for help. "Scans show high levels of technology, but nothing that could threaten our ship," reported Kilara, the intelligence officer. Her claws clicked against the control panel as she worked. "They appear to be gathering in large numbers in this location." She pointed to a city on the European continent. "That is where we will begin our search," Zex Fold decided. "Prepare for landing." The Valkyrine ship broke through Earth's atmosphere with a thunder-like boom. Below in Paris, humans looked up as the massive black ship blocked out the sun. Some pointed and took pictures with their phones, but most simply went back to what they were doing, enjoying the international food festival that had brought chefs from around the world to the city. The ship landed in the large open area of the Champ de Mars, crushing several food stalls, but miraculously hurting no one. The Parisians and tourists backed away, forming a circle around the alien craft. Police arrived quickly, creating a barrier between the crowd and the ship. When the door of the ship opened with a hiss of steam, the humans fell silent. Out stepped creatures from nightmares, over 7 feet tall with scaled skin, sharp teeth, and eyes that glowed like amber. Each carried weapons that hummed with energy. Zexthal stepped forward, expecting screams or weapons pointed at him. Instead, a small group of humans in formal attire approached calmly. "Welcome to Earth," said a woman in a blue suit. "I am Maya Chen from the United Nations Diplomatic Corps. We weren't expecting visitors today, especially not during our food festival." Zexthal growled, showing his teeth. "Where is the Coalition envoy ship? What have you done with it?" The human diplomats looked at each other, confused. Then one man checked something on a small device. "Oh, you must mean the ship that arrived yesterday," he said. "They were redirected to New York for proper diplomatic procedures. This is just a food festival." He gestured to the hundreds of stalls with cooking smoke rising into the air. Zexthal blinked his large eyes. This was not what he expected. His warriors stood behind him, weapons ready, while humans just meters away continued eating and drinking as if deadly predators hadn't just landed in their midst. "Would you like something to eat while we sort this out?" Maya Chen asked, offering a plate of something that smelled strangely good. "We have representatives from over 50 countries here today. It would be our honor to add your delegation to our guest list." Zexthal stared at the small human female offering food to apex predators who could tear her apart in seconds. She showed no fear, only a slight smile. "You are not afraid?" he asked. Maya shrugged. "Should I be? You're here about a misunderstanding. Let's fix it over dinner." That's what civilized species do, isn't it? For the first time in his long military career, Commander Zexthal of the mighty Valkyrine forces found himself completely speechless. Zexthal and his warriors sat uncomfortably in a large human transport vehicle. The humans called it a bus, and they had sent one specially equipped to handle the Valkyrine's size and weight. The commander looked out the window as they traveled through Paris toward the human gathering place called the United Nations. "Their behavior makes no sense," whispered Kilara, sitting beside him. "They should be running away or attacking us." Outside the window, humans went about their day. Children played in parks. People walked small furry creatures on strings. One human female jogged past the stopped bus, moving at a steady pace despite the hot sun. "Look at that," said Zexthal, pointing. "They run for no reason. No predator chases her, no prey to catch, yet she runs." The warriors watched as humans did more strange things. Some climbed walls just for fun. Others sat in metal boxes that moved at high speeds through the city. Most disturbing were the humans who controlled large animals, sitting on their backs or leading them with simple ropes. These creatures evolved on a death world, muttered T-Vex, the science officer. Their planet has creatures that would be apex predators on any other world. Yet they treat them like pets. The bus stopped at a large building with many flags outside. Maya Chen, the human diplomat, stood to address them. "Welcome to the United Nations European headquarters," she said with a smile. "We've contacted New York, and they confirmed your envoy ship arrived safely yesterday. There was a simple communication error. They detected unusual radiation patterns, what we call the Northern Lights, and changed course as a safety measure." Zexthal felt relieved but also confused. "We wish to confirm this with our own eyes." "Of course," Maya nodded. "We've arranged a video call with your envoy team. They're currently touring the Empire State Building and eating hot dogs." The Valkyranes followed Maya into a large meeting room where a screen showed their missing envoy team. The coalition diplomats appeared happy, showing off small rectangular devices. "Commander," the lead envoy said, "we're fine. The humans have been wonderful hosts. They're teaching us about selfies and something called social media. Did you know humans share pictures of their food before eating it?" Zexthal growled softly. A needless rescue mission. His warriors had prepared for battle against dangerous primitives, but found only friendly creatures who took pictures of food. As the call ended, a tall human male entered the room. He wore a dark suit and had short gray hair. "I am Roberto Vega, Secretary General of the United Nations," he said, bowing slightly. "On behalf of Earth, I apologize for the confusion. To make it up to you, we would like to invite the Valkyrine delegation to a special event, Earth's first interstellar diplomatic dinner." The Valkyrines shifted uncomfortably. On their world, eating was a private activity. Showing your teeth and consuming food near others was considered dangerous and intimate. "The dinner will honor the most formidable species in our part of the galaxy," Vega continued. "As apex predators yourselves, you would be our guests of honor." Zexthal suspected a trap, but galactic diplomatic rules were clear. Refusing such an invitation without good reason would be an insult. "We accept your invitation," he said finally, ignoring the nervous clicks from his warriors. Vega smiled widely, showing his flat human teeth. "Excellent. The dinner will be in 3 days. We look forward to sharing our world's finest cuisine with you." As they left the building, Clara moved close to her commander. "Sir, do you realize what we've agreed to? We must eat, in public, with aliens who tame predators for fun." Zexthal looked at the humans walking past, so small and fragile yet so strangely confident. "Something isn't right here," he said quietly. "And we're going to find out what it is." Back on their ship, the Valkyranes gathered in the meeting room. The air felt heavy with tension as Commander Zexthal paced back and forth, his claws clicking against the metal floor. "This dinner invitation is not what it seems," he growled. "No species invites apex predators to eat with them unless they have a plan." Clara stood before a large screen showing images she had collected from Earth's information network. "Sir, I've been researching human eating habits. What they call dining is disturbing." The screen showed humans sitting together, using small metal tools to put food in their mouths. They smiled and talked while eating, showing no signs of protecting their food from others. "They call these objects cutlery," Clara explained, zooming in on the small metal items. "Humans don't use their natural weapons to eat. They've created tiny spears and blades instead." The warriors shifted uncomfortably. On their world, eating was done quickly, alone, and with natural claws and teeth. The idea of sitting still, using tools, and watching others eat seemed dangerous and strange. "Worse yet," continued Clara, "they have rules about which metal tool to use for which food. They call it table manners. Breaking these rules causes shame. T-Vex, the science officer, raised a clawed hand. I've made a more worrying discovery. Humans regularly consume substances that would kill most species. The screen changed to show humans drinking dark liquids and eating colorful foods. This is coffee, contains caffeine, a poison to most life forms. This is chili, contains capsaicin, which causes pain signals. And this is alcohol, actually damages their brain cells. Yet humans consume these for pleasure. The room fell silent as the warriors processed this information. A species that enjoyed pain and poison was beyond their understanding. They're testing us, Zexful decided. This dinner is a challenge to see if we can match their endurance. We must prepare. Meanwhile, in a large kitchen in the United Nations building, humans were having their own crisis. Chef Isabella Moretti threw her hands up in frustration. How am I supposed to cook for creatures with 3 stomachs? Their biology files say they can digest metals. My knives contain metal. Around her, a team of scientists, diplomats, and cooking staff worked frantically. The first interstellar diplomatic dinner needed to be perfect. Dr. Ahmed, the lead xenobiologist, checked his tablet. Their taste buds respond to different chemicals than ours. What tastes sweet to us might taste like batteries to them. Maya Chen watched the chaos with growing concern. We need to make this work. The Valkyranes are important potential allies. If we offend them. I know. Chef Moretti sighed. No pressure. Just cook a meal that won't poison giant alien predators while also impressing them with Earth cuisine. Back on the Valkyrine ship, Zexthul made his final preparations. We will fast for 2 days before the dinner. Empty stomachs will allow us to eat whatever they serve without showing weakness. Kilara looked worried. Sir, what if this is some kind of trap? The commander's yellow eyes narrowed. That's exactly what I believe it is, but not the kind you're thinking of. What do you mean? Asked one of the younger warriors. The humans aren't afraid of us. They keep predators as pets. They run for fun and climb mountains for no reason. They eat poison for pleasure. Zexful's voice dropped to a low rumble. We're not dealing with simple prey species here. These humans are something different. As the Earth's sun set, both humans and Valkyrines prepared for a dinner that neither fully understood, but both saw as a crucial test. The new Interstellar Cultural Center shone brightly against the night sky. Lights from 100 countries decorated its walls. Inside, the grand hall had tables arranged in a large circle with a special table raised slightly higher for the guests of honor. Humans from every part of Earth arrived wearing their best clothes. Men in dark suits and women in colorful dresses moved around the room, talking excitedly about meeting real aliens. They're here, someone whispered as the large doors opened. The Valkyranes entered the hall like warriors entering battle. They wore their ceremonial armor polished to a high shine. Bones from ancient enemies decorated their shoulders, the highest honor in their culture. Commander Zexful led his team, yellow eyes scanning the room for threats. The room fell silent for a moment before Secretary General Vega stepped forward. Welcome, honored guests from the stars, he said with a deep bow. Tonight, Earth shares its table with you. Zexful returned the gesture stiffly. We are pleased to join you. Maya Chen appeared at the commander's side. Let me show you to your seats. We've arranged everything for your comfort. The Valkyranes followed her to the raised table where special chairs supported their large frames. Humans watched with curiosity, but kept a respectful distance. We will begin with appetizers, Maya explained. Small bites of food to prepare the stomach for the main meal. Servers appeared carrying small plates with different foods. The Valkyranes watched in horror as humans casually ate things that should not be eaten. Green plants, tiny sea creatures, strange fungi, and foods covered in colorful sauces. This is a delicacy called oyster, Maya said, offering a plate to Kilara. It's a sea creature eaten while still alive. Kilara looked at the small wet thing on the plate. Humans ate living creatures without hunting them. She took the plate with shaking claws. A server approached Zexful with a clear liquid in a tall glass. "Champagne, sir. It's traditional for celebrations." The commander took the glass carefully. T-Vex had warned him about human alcohol, but refusing might be seen as weakness. He sipped the drink and nearly jumped when tiny bubbles exploded in his mouth. The humans nearby smiled at his reaction. "First time with carbonation?" asked a human male next to him. "It gets easier after a few sips." Across the room, a young Valkyrine warrior named Grek prepared to eat a small piece of cheese. Remembering his training about showing strength, he growled loudly at the food before eating it. A traditional Valkyrine warning to prey. The humans nearby didn't run in fear. Instead, they pulled out small devices and took pictures, saying things like "how cute" and "absolutely fascinating." Zexful watched his confused warriors. Nothing was going as expected. Humans should fear predators growling, yet they found it entertaining. They should be nervous serving dangerous aliens, yet they acted like this was normal. Chef Moretti appeared from the kitchen doors, watching anxiously as the aliens tried her carefully prepared appetizers. When one Valkyrine finished a plate of specially prepared seafood and looked for more, she gave a small cheer. "The first course is a success," she whispered to Maya. "Now for the real challenge, the main course." As servers cleared the small plates, Zexful leaned toward Kilera. "Something is very wrong here. These humans are acting like they're hosting children, not deadly predators." Kilera nodded. "Sir, I'm beginning to think we may have misjudged which species is the true apex predator in this room." The main course arrived on large, beautiful plates. Chef Moretti had created dishes that both humans and Valkyrines could safely eat. For the alien guests, she prepared meat cooked rare with special herbs that matched their taste preferences. T-Vex, the science officer, stared at his plate with growing confusion. The meat was cut into small pieces. It came from an animal he didn't recognize, killed by someone else, cooked by someone else, and now served by someone else. On his world, a predator would never eat food prepared by another. It would be shameful. "Is something wrong with your meal?" asked Maya Chen, noticing his hesitation. "You did not hunt this animal?" T-Vex asked carefully. Maya smiled. "No, Earth has specialized food producers. Most humans never hunt their own food." T-Vex looked around the room. "So all these humans depend on others for their survival. They cannot feed themselves." "We could if we needed to," Maya explained. "But we choose to specialize. Some grow food, some prepare it, some build houses, some make clothes. It's more efficient that way." The science officer's claws tightened around his utensils. This was deeply troubling information. At the other end of the table, Commander Zexful was having a similar conversation with Secretary General Vega. "Your people seem comfortable eating together," Vega noted. "On Earth, shared meals are important for building relationships." Zexful shifted uncomfortably. "For Valkyrines, eating is private. Showing teeth and consuming food near others is intimate." "I see," Vega nodded. "Different worlds, different customs. That makes your presence here even more meaningful." Kilera, listening nearby, finally asked the question that had been bothering her. "Why do humans keep predators as pets?" A woman in a blue dress turned to her. "You mean like dogs and cats? We domesticated them thousands of years ago. They help us hunt, protect our homes, or just keep us company. But they have teeth and claws." Kilera insisted. "They could hurt you." The woman laughed. "So could cars, electricity, and kitchen knives. Humans are good at making dangerous things safe." As the dinner continued, the Valkyrines learned more strange facts about humans. They controlled the breeding of once dangerous animals. They had replaced most hunting with farming. Most shocking of all, they sometimes hunted not for food but for sport or tradition. "You kill without eating?" asked the young warrior, horrified. "Some do," admitted a human man. "Many of us disagree with trophy hunting, but humans have different opinions about many things." T-Vex, who had been quiet for some time, suddenly spoke up. I understand now. Your species doesn't need to hunt because you've changed your entire world to serve you. You've made the planet itself your prey. The table fell silent at his words. Maya Chen smiled gently. That's one way to see it. Another way is that we've learned to work with our environment rather than just take from it. By controlling it completely, Zex Full noted. Not completely, Vega said. Nature reminds us of our limits regularly through storms, diseases, and disasters. We are still learning to balance our needs with the planet's. As the plates were cleared away for the next course, Zex Full watched the humans closely. They were not physically impressive. They had no claws, weak teeth, thin skin, yet somehow they had made an entire planet bend to their will. The most dangerous predator, he thought, might be the one you never recognize as a threat until it's too late. The dinner continued with more courses being served. Commander Zex Full was now convinced this entire event was a test. The humans were challenging the Valkyrians to prove their strength and endurance. As apex predators, they could not show weakness. Chef Moretti emerged from the kitchen carrying a special dish. For our honored guests, I've prepared a traditional Earth delicacy, spicy curry from the region of India. The plate before Zextol steamed with a rich red sauce covering pieces of meat. The smell made his nose burn slightly. The chef explained this dish contained something called chili peppers that created a sensation of heat. When Maya Chen warned him to try just a small bite first, Zex Full became certain this was the challenge he'd been waiting for. He would not fail. Valkyrians do not fear food, he announced loudly. Before anyone could stop him, he took a massive bite of the curry. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then his mouth exploded with fire. Tears formed in his yellow eyes. His scales turned a brighter shade of green. Sweat broke out across his forehead. Yet around him, humans were eating the same dish without any signs of distress. Water, Maya offered, holding out a glass. Zex Full refused. Accepting help would show weakness. He forced himself to take another bite, then another. His warriors watched in horror as their commander's face changed colors. The capsaicin in chili peppers triggers pain receptors, explained Ambassador Liu, who sat nearby. Humans have evolved to enjoy this sensation. Some cultures compete to eat the spiciest foods possible. Kilera's jaw dropped open. Your species enjoys pain. For entertainment. Some do, yes, Liu nodded. Different humans enjoy different levels of spice, just as they enjoy different levels of danger in their activities. Zextol finally gave in and drank 3 glasses of water, which only spread the burning sensation. A human server brought him a glass of white liquid called milk, which finally provided relief. I apologize, Chef Moretti said, looking genuinely sorry. We should have started with a milder version. The commander wiped his eyes. No apology needed. It was interesting. As the dinner moved toward dessert, a new group of humans entered the hall, smaller ones. The Valkyrine security team immediately tensed, moving their hands toward their weapons. Our children have prepared a small performance to welcome you, Secretary General Vega explained. They've been learning about space all week. The Valkyrians watched in confusion as human offspring approached their table without fear. In their culture, young ones were kept far from dangerous strangers. Yet these small humans stared openly at the aliens and asked curious questions. Are your teeth sharp because you eat tough food? Asked a little boy. Do the bones on your shoulders hurt? Wondered a small girl. Grek, the young warrior who had growled at his food earlier, found himself surrounded by human children fascinated by his armor. Unsure what to do, he answered their questions with growing amusement. The biggest surprise came when a small girl with curly hair approached Kilera. The intelligence officer had not tried the dessert, a cold sweet food called ice cream. The little girl held out her own cone. You can have some of mine if you want, she offered. It's chocolate. It's the best kind. Kilera froze, completely at a loss. On her world, offering food was a sign of deep trust. Yet this tiny human was freely sharing with a predator 3 times her size. Carefully, with her claws retracted, Cholera accepted the small gesture. The cold sweetness surprised her with its pleasant taste. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You're welcome," the child replied with a simple smile before skipping back to her parents. Zexthul watched this exchange with dawning understanding. Humans weren't testing the Valkyrine's strength. They were offering something much stranger: friendship. After dessert, the humans served drinks in small glasses. They called this after-dinner drinks, another strange custom that the Valkyrines did not understand but politely accepted. Commander Zexthul found himself sitting in a smaller room with Secretary General Vega, Maya Chen, and several other important humans. The room had comfortable chairs and low tables. The walls showed pictures of Earth's different landscapes. The commander finally asked the question that had bothered him all evening. "Why are humans not afraid of predators? Even your children approached us without fear." The humans exchanged glances. Professor Okonkwo, an older human with gray hair, leaned forward. "Commander, have you heard of persistence hunting?" he asked. Zexthul shook his head. Early humans had no claws, no powerful jaws, no natural weapons, the professor explained. But we had something special: endurance. Our ancestors would chase animals for hours or days, not by being faster, but by never stopping. The professor showed a small video on his device. Humans followed an animal under the hot sun. The animal ran fast, but had to rest. The humans kept walking, following tracks. Eventually, the animal collapsed from exhaustion. The prey animal could run faster, but humans could run longer, Professor Okonkwo said. "We didn't need to be the strongest predator. We just needed to be the most patient one." Cholera, who had joined them, looked shocked. "You hunt by exhausting prey. That's terrifying," finished T-Vex, "a predator that never stops coming." "It goes beyond hunting," said Maya Chen. "Humans changed their entire world through patience and working together." Secretary General Vega touched a control panel, and the wall showed new images: ancient humans building small villages, then larger towns, then massive cities. Forests turned into farms, rivers diverted, mountains cut through with roads. "This happened over thousands of years," Vega explained. "Step by step, humans transformed the planet." "But what about the other predators on your world?" asked Zexthul. "The large cats and wolves and bears in your nature videos." "We either drove them away, hunted them to smaller numbers, or," Maya paused, "we turned them into friends." More images showed the history of dogs, from wild wolves to the many different dogs humans now kept as pets. The Valkyrines watched in stunned silence as the fearsome hunters became smaller, gentler creatures that lived in human homes. "You didn't just defeat predators," whispered Cholera. "You remade them to serve you." "We call it domestication," said the professor. "It's how we created most of our food animals and pets." Maya Chen mentioned something even more astonishing. "When humans first went to space, we didn't go ourselves at first. We sent animals. We decided when and how other species would reach the stars." The room fell silent as the Valkyrines processed this information. Humans had no natural weapons or defenses, yet they had conquered their world not through strength or speed, but through cooperation, tool-making, and an almost frightening patience. "You understand now," said Vega, his voice gentle. "Humans aren't the strongest or fastest, but we reshape environments to suit us. We turn enemies into allies. We endure." Zexthul looked at the small, soft humans around him. For the first time, he felt a chill run down his spine. His people valued strength and power. Humans valued something much more dangerous: change. "You are not what you appear to be," he said finally. Maya Chen smiled. "No species ever is, Commander. That's the first lesson of true diplomacy." The final course of the dinner featured something special. Chef Moretti called it conservation cuisine. Food made from plants and animals the humans had almost driven to extinction before deciding to save them. These species were once rare because of human activities, explained the chef. Now they are protected, and their numbers grow again. Zexful studied the beautiful plate before him. You chose which species would live or die. Not our proudest moment, admitted Secretary General Vega. But we learned from our mistakes. Now we work to protect biodiversity. As the evening wound down, Commander Zexful asked for a private conversation with Vega. They moved to a small office away from the other guests. I need to speak honestly, said the commander, standing tall. When we came to Earth, we thought we would find primitive creatures or perhaps dangerous enemies. Instead, we found something I've never seen before. Vega waited patiently as the large alien gathered his thoughts. Your species has no natural weapons, Zexful continued. You are physically weak compared to many creatures, yet you conquered your world not through strength, but through cooperation and tool use. You didn't just defeat your predators, you turned them into companions. The commander paced the room, his claws clicking on the floor. Most disturbing of all, you enjoy things that should cause fear, pain, danger, challenges. You run toward difficult things rather than away from them. It's human nature, Vega said simply. We're curious creatures. Zexful stopped pacing and faced the human. The Galactic Coalition has spent centuries managing conflicts between predator and prey species. We keep them separate with complex treaties and buffer zones. It's how we maintain peace. And what do you think of our approach? Asked Vega. It's completely different. Humans don't separate, you integrate. You don't avoid problems, you solve them. You don't accept limits, you overcome them. The commander's voice became serious. Such a species could be the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known. Vega tensed slightly, but Zexful raised a hand. Or, the commander continued, you could be its greatest opportunity. The human relaxed. What do you propose? A special alliance. I will recommend to the coalition that humans not be classified as just another member species. You represent something unique, a species that transcends the natural order. We're just people, Vega said with a smile, trying to make our way in the universe. No, said Zexful firmly. You are more than that. You are predator domesticators. You are ecosystem engineers. You have moved beyond the laws of nature that govern other species. He extended his clawed hand in the human gesture he had learned. The coalition needs new perspectives. Will you join us, not as subordinates, but as partners? Vega looked at the massive alien hand before him, covered in scales and ending in deadly claws. Without hesitation, he reached out and shook it. We would be honored, he said. As they returned to the main hall, Clara approached her commander. Sir, what happened? Zexful watched the humans mingling with his warriors, sharing stories and laughter. I just made either the best decision or the worst mistake in coalition history, he replied. Only time will tell which. 1 year passed quickly. The Great Hall of the Galactic Coalition Summit was filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds. Species that would naturally be predators and prey sat in separate sections, with buffer zones between them, a system that had kept peace for centuries. Today was different. For the first time, humans were attending the summit. Earth had sent 50 representatives from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds. Commander Zexful, now the official coalition liaison to Earth, stood at the center of the hall. The past year had changed him. He had spent months on Earth, learning about humans and their ways. He no longer wore trophy bones on his armor. Honored members of the coalition, his deep voice echoed through the hall. Today we welcome a new species among us, but not as ordinary members. Screens around the hall showed images of Earth, its cities, farms, and wild places. They showed humans working with animals, tending plants, building machines, and exploring space. For too long, the coalition has managed conflict by keeping species apart, Zexful continued. Predators here, prey there. careful rules to maintain the natural order. Murmurs spread through the crowd. This was indeed how things had always been done. Humans offer a different path. They do not accept the natural order. They transform it. The commander gestured to the human delegation. They call it symbiosis, different species working together for mutual benefit. Maya Chen stepped forward with Secretary General Vega. With them came something that shocked many aliens: Earth animals, service dogs, therapy cats, and even a small monkey that helped a disabled human. On Earth, Maya explained, we've learned that cooperation often works better than competition. Former predators and prey can become partners. Vega spoke next. We don't claim to have all the answers. Earth still has many problems. But we found that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. The human delegation shared their approach to environmental management, showing how Earth's carefully balanced ecosystems could be models for troubled planets. They explained how their agricultural methods produced more food than the coalition's separated systems. Zexthol raised his clawed hand for attention. I propose that humans be classified officially as apex domesticators, the species that has evolved beyond the predator-prey dichotomy. After much discussion, the coalition voted to accept this new classification and to try the human approach on several test worlds. Later, at the celebration banquet, Kilera found Maya Chen serving food to representatives from many worlds. Some were traditional enemies, yet they sat at the same tables, sharing a meal prepared by humans. I have a question, said Kilera, approaching her human friend. Your species could have used its abilities to conquer. You could have kept your advantages secret. Why share with the galaxy? Maya smiled and offered Kilera a plate of food, specially prepared for Valkyrian biology. Because the most successful predator isn't the one with the sharpest claws, she said, but the one who never needs to hunt again. Around them, the summit representatives, former predators and prey alike, talked, laughed, and shared ideas. The old boundaries were beginning to fade. Kilera looked at the scene with new understanding. The humans were no longer dinner guests in the galaxy. They were now the hosts, and they had set a new table where all species could find a place. To new beginnings, Maya said, raising her glass. To new beginnings, Kilera agreed, raising her own in the human gesture of toast she had come to appreciate. Outside the window, stars twinkled in the darkness of space, 1,000 worlds waiting to learn what humans already knew, that cooperation could be stronger than claws, and friendship more powerful than fear.